Hello everybody, we're here to talk about Rainmaker today, because while the update has been mostly positive, Rainmaker's a bit of a problem. Ignore the apocalypse outside, they got other people to deal with that. Anyway, Kyo has posted, Gray has posted, a few other people have talked about, just in the, top player sphere, that while the update's overall positive, Rainmaker is much worse than before, legit unviable. And Gray also complained about Clan Blitz, but I'm not getting into Clan Blitz right now. Rainmaker is the main set of complaints. And that this update added a lot of stuff that made Rainmaker worse. So, what happened to Rainmaker? Why is everyone getting, so up about the mode? So there's a few separate weapons they added that are a bit of a problem for the mode. But before we get into those, we gotta talk about Rainmaker in general. So let's go back to the Apocalypse real quick. And let's talk about Rainmaker. Specifically, let's talk about the maps we play Rainmaker on, right? So let's go over here. And we look at our Rainmaker stages. Now, in tournament, we don't see very many of these. One is Undertow Spillway, which has two ways to go, one of which is an uninkable ramp. Keep that in mind. One's an uninkable ramp, the other way is still like a tight choke point or on grades. We have Museum, which has a point where you can only go one direction. We have none of these. We have Humpback Pump Track. I skipped Scorch and I. Humpback Pump Track. Left side has the checkpoint jump you have to do if you push that way, and you're almost never going to do that. Right side has a little bend that you're forced to get through. And then we have Scorch, and that's kind of it. You have the grade path, and then you have the one choke point path, right? So, obviously, the maps are the main problem here, right? The maps in Rainmaker suck. I think most people have realized that the maps in Rainmaker are, in fact, a problem, right? That's kind of obvious. So, how do we exploit that problem in Splatoon 3? Because the problem existing is one thing. Options that can exploit the problem are a totally different thing. So, option number one is Kraken. This special right here. Now, Kraken is obviously very good in Rainmaker for these choke points. So let's say we're defending. You're going to have to use your imagination. I'm not getting other people on for this. Let's say the enemy team is pushing the Rainmaker, and they want to go, over here, right? And they're going to try to push the Rainmaker, because that path over there is totally fake, right? I pop the Kraken button, and basically just sit here, and for 8 seconds, there's nothing they can do about it. There's no way to end it early, none of that. If they die, and the Rainmaker is here, I can sit here in a Kraken and they cannot pick it up. Like, they legit cannot pick up the Rainmaker. I can sit here, hold my charge, and just charge into the Rainmaker if they ever threaten to grab it. Which also means if the checkpoint isn't cleared, they can't clear that. Now, you might be saying at this point, okay, but Kraken isn't new. Kraken's annoying, but it's not that broken. You're right. On its own, it's not that much. What we gotta talk about is the Kraken weapons they put in the game. Because let's take a look at our current set of Kraken weapons. Nobody's picking this. Nobody's picking this. Nobody's picking this. Nobody's picking this. We have two, real Kraken weapons at the highest level. We have CRB, and we have 96. And there's something that both of these weapons have in common. They are 210 points for special, and either they have some of the worst paint in the game, or they have a sub that does not paint. So, while these can get Kraken, they don't really get that much Kraken. It's not going to be available all the time. Introducing these two things. This one's less of a problem, but it's mainly this one right here. This Glamour Splatter Shot is a mobile weapon. It'll set up in those positions more. It sub-paints the floor, and it is a 190p Kraken Royale. You are going to have this significantly more option. You can stall for Kraken more easily, play around it, spam it for the mode, much more. So that's Kraken. You want to know what another problem is in Rainmaker? Bazooka. Bazooka is pretty good at stalling out Rainmaker. And if anything, this problem's gotten better recently, because shots gotten to 210, and we nerfed Bazooka, and everything was going right in the world until we put a monster into the game, and that's this mini splatling. I'm going to open the training room right now. I have, one mana charge up, right? We're just going to paint casually. This is a 190 Bazooka. Within 3 charges, not even 3 full charges, I have a bazooka. Now, this weapon's a problem in more than just zones. Or sorry, more than Rainmaker. This has already won an area cup. And it is literally just in place of the K-Shot, you run Object Shredder, you run Charge Up, you run Speed, and you have a fun time spamming Bazooka. And that's in zones, right? That's the mode where the objective isn't something to shoot at, right? Now we have to deal with this thing in Rainmaker where the objective is slow and glowing and has to go in one spot. In other words, Bazooka spam's pretty good into it. At least it doesn't have a lethal. On top of that is one more new weapon they put in the game. One more little problem. And that is our brand new Splash-O-Matic that I am now realizing I don't own. So we're going to have to use Jet Sculpture. But just pretend that this is the new Splash, okay? It's got the same kit anyway, right? Now, in this recent patch, they made Toxic Mist 55% of your ink tank. So let's simulate having LDE active or stacking into a little bit of Subsaver, right? Let's just pretend we have that. I'm going to use Ink Recovery 2 to help simulate Last Ditch, because I can't really trigger the Last Ditch. And let's go back to the map. Right. Let's say we're playing Humpback, right? We got our two options to push. Way over there and way over here. So I have my Splash, I have a little bit of Subsaver, I have my Toxic Mist, and I just throw Mist right here. And I can just repeatedly throw it over and over. If for whatever reason I want to, I can throw two of these. And then for 5 seconds those stay up. So I get my ink back. And I can perma-throw another 2 mists. And I can just do this over and over. Before, that required a lot of gear. It wasn't really super worth it. There wasn't really a weapon that wanted to do that. Now we have weapons that like doing this for fun. Right? Oh, they want to push Rainmaker? Boom. Have fun. Right? And on its own, this doesn't seem like that big a deal, right? This is kind of annoying, but like, whatever. But when you stack it with the bazookas, and you stack it with the crab tank, and you stack it with the Kraken running in, and like all this other stuff, these become a problem. Now, I want to clarify, after talking about all of these. On their own, none of these are a game-breaking problem. It is very much the map design that leads to this being absolute hell. By the way, if you throw a rain, you can throw 4 of these, and you can also have a rain. That's really cool. I'll like show it in the background while I'm talking. So, it's all of these combined that are the problem. There are too many things that, in conjunction with the map design, hurt this mode, right? The reason these things are a problem is because of the map design, right? If you could go somewhere else for the checkpoint, it doesn't matter if they have a Kraken on it or a billion Toxic Mists, because you go, oh, throw your double mist, use your Kraken, I'm gonna go over here, and then boom, I score a checkpoint, and like, we just move the other way. But you can't do that here. Our best maps for Rainmaker still don't have a solution to that problem. Now, again, none of these completely break the mode. You can play it, right? If you want to, if you enjoy Rainmaker, that's fine. But at the highest level, what this means is that Rainmaker is a lot more boring to watch, and it's a lot more boring to play. There is more of a focus on sub and special spam, halting the objective on choke points. So I think the question that we want to ask ourselves is, if this is going to become even more of a problem, is this really something worth watching at top level play? And I truly mean only at top level play, okay? I understand it's different elsewhere. But at some point, people are going to get good enough to really use all this to its fullest potential. And I don't know if we want to watch that personally. We'll see.